Well, hello again, YouTube pipe smokers, and the YTPC Southern Piper here with another installment of Wednesday Review. And today I'm going to be reviewing Rattray's Red Rapparee, which is considered a Scottish blend. I'm sure many of you have seen it, heard of it, maybe even smoked it yourself. But we're gonna do a review on this today. I'll tell you, I picked this up at a local brick and mortar, probably about a month ago, maybe a little bit more, at our last meetup here in Birmingham, over at Cigars and More in the Hoover area. But this is the tin I picked up. It's one of the larger tins. It appears to have a date on the bottom of April of 19. I'll show you that. I'm assuming that's the date. So we'll get into it. As you all know, if you watch many of my reviews, I try to get a little bit of background on it, on the blend. I usually find out what the people over at Smoking Pipes think about it, as well as the people over at Tobacco Reviews. And I do that just for perspective. And also, it's part of my research to learn more about the blend. So we'll get into it. First, we'll read the tin description. So it says, Rattray's British Collection Red Rapparee, a classic blend of spicy Latakia, differently cut Virginia tobaccos, dark Cavendish, and distinctive proportion of Orientals. Now, the folks over at Tobacco Reviews have said on the description, exhilarating and elusive, quaint and seductive. That's interesting. Prepared from choice red Virginias and heavily flavored with Orientals, giving it a red tinge. It burns in the pipe with the spontaneity of a fine cigar. An updated description says, a charming, perfectly balanced, dark mixture of Virginia tobaccos, Orientals, black Cavendish, and a luxurious quantity of Latakia. The ash is pale gray and similar to that of a good cigar, a wonderful, spicy mixture. All right, so I'll tell you my thoughts in a moment. I think those descriptions are very sophisticated. So I'll show you in the tin, mostly a ribbon cut, if you can see that. Mostly a ribbon cut. There's a few smaller pieces in there. And you can kind of see some browns, a few reds, some dark pieces in there. On the tin note, I get a very, very subtle smokiness. And a little bit of what I define as iodine. And I get some sourness and some vinegar notes. That's what I get. Somebody else may get something different, but that's what my nose is picking up. So we'll go a little bit more into the profile. Of course, it is the brand is Rattray's. It's actually blended by Coalhouse and Kopp, manufactured by them. As I mentioned, it is a Scottish blend, contains black Cavendish, Latakia, Turkish Orientals, and Virginias. There is no flavoring on it. It is a ribbon cut. It comes in 50 gram and 100 gram tins. It is manufactured in Denmark, and it is currently available I do think, even though it's currently available, it's one of those where you have to kind of wait for it to hit, and it's not always the same type of blend that Rattrays will drop. So that's that. According to Tobacco Reviews, the strength is medium. I would give it more of a mild to medium. There is no flavoring detected. I agree with that. The taste is medium, and I would agree it has a very good medium balanced taste. The room note, they say, is tolerable. All right, so we're going to light it up. I've already given this a char light, so we will give it a true light. While I'm doing that, I will tell you the reviewers at Smoking Pipes give this blend a 4.57 out of a possible 5 stars. And the reviewers at Tobacco Reviews give it 3.4 stars on a 4-star scale. So here we go. I inhaled a little bit there by accident. I do not recommend that. So, what I get, and again, this is my palate talking. Someone with a different palate may have other notes that they pick up. I pick up a little bit of a coffee note, like a black coffee note, or even I would further define that as a coffee bean note. I don't want to confuse you with, drinking coffee, but it would be more of a coffee bean. Very mild smokiness from the Latakia. There's a little bit of spiciness, but for me it's not very pronounced, not very noticeable. It's just kind of back there, giving it a little bit of depth. I also get a little bit of a tea, like maybe a black tea. But I will say that I've enjoyed this. So I've had it over a month, and I have really enjoyed smoking this in the mornings with a cup of coffee. I will give a shout out to Smoking the Ghost. Greg was with me the day I bought this, and he made a comment about how well he thought it paired with coffee, and I completely agree. It does pair very well with coffee. And Greg, if you watch this, I would love for you to comment below what your thoughts on it are as far as your tasting notes and what have you. Um, as I've been kind of taking notes on this, one of the nuances I do pick up later in the bowl is a dried fruit, maybe a raisin type of a note there. But I do think that this is one of those blends that I can smoke all day. And I can tell you that for the past several weekends, I have smoked this blend most of the day on Saturdays and Sundays. I don't smoke it in church, though. They frown on that. But I thoroughly enjoy this. I will look to pick up more. And I will look to pick up some and smoke it fresh without any age on it to see how the difference is. But I'm certainly a fan of this blend. I'm glad I picked it up. And I'll say too, I know it dawned on me as I was preparing for this video to do this review that I always talk about on reviews how much I enjoy the blend, how much I like it, and recommend it. That's because the reason you never hear me say I'm not a big fan or is because I usually don't do reviews on tobaccos that I'm not a big fan of. It's very rare. I would say there may have been two different ones, which I believe one was probably a blend club blend, if memory serves. I don't remember which one. But yeah, that's why you're not going to see me give a lot of negative reviews, if you will, because I'm not going to take the time and review something if I'm not a big fan of it, just because I will not have spent enough time with it, I think, to do an adequate review. The only way I would probably do such a thing is if I did a first impression and kind of discovered with everybody all at once if I do or don't like it. And even then, I may not even post it. So, anyway, that's if you're ever curious why I seem to always like the blends that I review, then that's why, because I'm not going to review something that I'm not a big fan of. So, anyway, I certainly appreciate you taking a little while to listen to me ramble about my thoughts of red Rapparee. If you've had this, I would love to hear your thoughts on the blend. You can leave those comments down below. And I always appreciate everyone tuning in and giving me a watch. So I'm going to finish this bowl and enjoy it while I spend my evening watching the Atlanta Braves play against the San Francisco Giants. And until next time, my friends, I bid you happy smoking and blessings to you and your family.